What's going on, everybody? It is your boy Zamboni. I'm a musician and astrologer, and it is time to talk about the astrology of the week ahead. As always, I thank you so very much for being here. I appreciate y'all so much for checking out these forecasts. If you want to support, then you can send me a tip via Venmo, Cash App, PayPal. That is super helpful. You can go to zambonifunk.com. You can get a reading just like this one. Let's talk about the astrology of the week ahead this week. It is kind of, well, all right. So I get to bring some good news this week. I love bringing good news, and it seems like it happens so rarely with this kind of craft. So, um, two good things are happening this week that I'm very excited about. One is Mercury is stationing direct. So, it's not going to be Mercury retrograde in Leo anymore. Mercury is going to station direct, and it's going to start moving forward. Now, this has been a super loud Mercury retrograde. It has been all of the miscommunications and delays. It has been all of the tech snafus and trouble and all of that sort of stuff. I had two microphones break on me. Two microphones broke on me. And so now you're listening to this video in low quality audio because I don't have a microphone yet. So this is just like the straight off the phone kind of situation. It is, and that's just, as soon as it happened, I was like, oh yeah, this is like, this is what we're doing. And I had to spend like an hour and a half on my daily that day. You know what I mean? Just like all kinds of things. This has been an extremely loud Mercury retrograde, which has been very difficult. To see that Mercury is stationing direct and beginning to move forward again is hopeful. It does look like there is still so Mercury is going to be stationary for a little while, and it's going to take all week for Mercury to actually start moving forward again. So there's still a bit of a ways to go as far as the Mercury stuff is concerned. Also, this Mercury is opposite to Pluto in Aquarius. That to me still feels a little bit deceptive. It still feels like there's a power struggle going on in some kind of way. That is especially prominent once we notice that Saturn in Aries opposite to Mars in Libra is still happening. We've already seen the peak of that, but those two are going to be in orb for another week and something probably. And so every time the moon moves into a cardinal sign, then the moon is going to carry the light between the two of them. It's going to be a whole thing. So like this week, for example, we're going to have the moon in Aries for a little bit. And so that moon in Aries is immediately, as soon as you get into Aries, then you're going to get a conjunction to Saturn and an opposition to Mars. And so that does look like that conflict is still happening, still brewing, still working through itself in some kind of way here. But what I like about that is that, so Mars in Libra is, so that's going to be Mars, the action planet, the war maker in Libra, the place of the scales, justice, marketplace, fairness, equality, equanimity, that kind of thing, right? And so you could think about that as like Mars out of place, but it's also Mars, like maybe this isn't the moment to fight a whole war. Maybe diplomacy is a better move here. And Libra is very strong on diplomacy. So there is a lot of tension and difficulty with that moon, or with that Mars in Libra opposite to Saturn in Aries. And every time the moon comes through, then we're going to feel that, we're going to notice that, right? But what's also happening in a cardinal sign is that Venus and Jupiter are going to make a conjunction this week in Cancer. That's going to happen, I think, at 13 Cancer. Looks great. That's both benefics in a place where both of them are comfortable. Venus is not technically, I think Venus is technically peregrine there, which means that there's no either essential dignity or debility. But like, Venus gets along with the moon really well. Venus in Cancer is in the moon sign, so Venus is able to do the Venus things pretty well. But more importantly, is hanging out there with an exalted Jupiter. So Jupiter is just going to say yes to all the Venus things. So insofar as Venus is concerned with making things beautiful, making things homey and comfortable if we're in Cancer, bringing softness, bringing cooperation, teamwork, things just being generally pleasurable, all of that kind of thing, delicious food, all of that. Nourishment, these kinds of things. That stuff, look, Jupiter's just going to say yes to all that and say yes very powerfully, very strongly, right? So after the moon moves into a cardinal sign, let's say Aries this week is going to happen, then we're going to get that conjunction to Saturn, kind of a difficulty, right? Challenges and obstacles. Immediately met with an opposition to Mars in Libra, feels gear grinding, frustrating, gas and brakes at the same time. Oh, there's all this tension to go through the whole situation. There's a problem that we have to deal with. Then the next day, as the moon moves through Aries, we're going to get a square to Venus and Jupiter in Cancer. So it's like moving from this place of difficulty into a spot where it's like, okay, cooperation is possible here. We can do cooperation. We can do togetherness, harmony, nourishment, working in concert together in some kind of way, right? So it feels like solutions are really possible. It feels like we can think through things in such a way as to create a better world for ourselves. This is especially apparent because Mercury, who is the negotiator, who is the one who can get us onto the same page and see where we can fit in together. You got to get in where you fit in, right? Mercury is the one who is going to be able to assess where the fit is going to be possible and help us to get in there, right? So Mercury is starting to move forward this week, and that it just looks like there's a possibility to smooth some things out, to work some things out in some kind of way that I think is like really going to be useful, given that things have been so uncomfortable and out of sorts for so long. By the way, I should probably shout out that I have a course in the fundamentals of astrology. If you want to learn how to do this kind of thing, if you want to learn how to take astrological symbols and turn them into real life images that can be helpful and powerful in not only your life, but in the lives of others as well, you can go to zambonifunk.com. The course is called Astrology from the Ground Up. People really like it. Somebody said that it was the most useful astrology course that they had ever taken. They had taken some others, and it was the most relevant and relatable one that they had taken. So go ahead and check that out, zambonifunk.com. If you don't feel like doing all that and you just want me to read for you, I'm happy to do that too, boo-boo. So check it out, zambonifunk.com. Because astrology is fun, like this idea that even when it's like astrology, in the astrology community, we have a term called astrologer good, which is when things are so perfectly on point for the astrology, even when it's uncomfortable, you go, but the world is made of magic, and that's pretty cool. This Mercury retrograde has been that way for me a lot, because it's been so wildly uncomfortable. I've been like, all of the Mercury, Mercury communication or miscommunication stuff in Mercury retrograde, right? And then Leo, the sense of like being seen or being loudly appreciated, adored in the way that Leo loves to be the center of attention and this kind of thing, right? It's been a lot of like just getting ignored when you don't want to be ignored. And that's not just been me. There's been a lot of like I've seen, I've had conversations with people who are not feeling seen. I don't feel seen is like such a Leo retrograde situation, right? So if you want to look around and see these kinds of synchronicities taking place and get the kind of joy that you can get from even things that are uncomfortable but that are so on point, then go ahead and check it out at zambonifunk.com. This week, I think there is a lot of possibility for working things out together, especially on that diplomacy and negotiation tip. It's worth noticing that Mercury in early Leo is not only opposite to Pluto in Libra, but is also sextile to Mars in Libra. Did I say Pluto in Libra? I meant Aquarius. Pluto in Aquarius is opposite to Mercury in Leo, but Mercury in Leo is sextile to Mars in Libra. Sextile is going to be a complementary kind of aspect. They want to work together. They want to help each other in some kind of way. Mars is in need of some diplomatic negotiation possibilities, right? Maybe in order to, it's not even necessarily that we don't want to go to war. Maybe we want to win think with Sun Tzu's Art of War, right? Like the best way to win the war is to not fight in the first place. And so how can you do that? Maybe you can get what you want through the marketplace or through contractual stuff. It feels like there are power plays afoot here, and it honestly feels like Jupiter and Venus in Cancer are going to say yes to power plays at a certain level, like that negotiating tactic. Like there's some wind in those sails, and so you can there's a sense that maybe you can get what you want this week. Maybe we should try it.